When I think of community, I think of my neighborhood, my family, my friends, the people that surround me every day.
Before quarantine, I would say community to me was just going out with the people who are close to you, who share common interests, hobbies, goals, and interacting with them.
Thinking about community during this pandemic, I've really been thinking about the concept of closeness and how that's kind of fluid and has kind of changed.
I talk a little bit about how COVID-19 has impacted our community.
We're trying to find ways to reach out to our community and give back and recognize small businesses and families who might be struggling financially.
Community, a common word used so often its meaning is like subtle waves washing into shore, a soothing, predictable notion until a storm arrives and they are changed at the will of the tempestuous wind. The dictionary gives us two standard definitions: a group of people linked together by geography or some defining characteristic, or a collection of people that bond together with solidarity over a common goal or interest. How do we, however, stand by these definitions as concrete when even they leave room for your interpretation, making it possible for the concept to change and evolve to reflect the realities and idiosyncrasies of life, like the ocean waves that transform to match nature's whims? The result is that we must acknowledge the changing nature of community in order to understand it at all. An idea illuminated in the COVID-19 pandemic, an international crisis that has directly impacted the ability of communities around the globe to physically gather together, bringing to question whether or not we must be physically joined in order to stand together as one. Historically, the relationship between community and physicality has not always been imperative, with landmark moments of community solidarity not necessarily rooted in the physical gathering of people. Headway is often made when individuals far removed from each other join together over a common cause and unite geographic boundaries metaphorically. In such a manner, distance can create strength, as individuals bring the idiosyncratic perspectives unique to his or her experience and strengthen the movement. This was true to the women's movement, which relied on the individual personal experiences of women to draft its purpose. As explained in Sean Lee's book, Gender Voices, Feminist Visions, in the foundations of the second wave women's movement, women began to make connections and coin the phrase, "the personal is political," to explain how things taken as personal or idiosyncratic have broader social, political, and economic causes and experiences. The personal is political, rooted and strengthened by these idiosyncrasies, was the rallying cry of the cause, crucial in bonding women over their shared experience and suffering and lobbying for change. Without acknowledging individual experiences, women may not have realized, as Sean Lee described, that their personal situations are actually part of broader cultural patterns. In other words, the diversity of individual experiences shared strengthen the cause, illuminating important cultural insights, making it more relevant to all lives, and creating a transcendence of geographic boundaries to unite women, otherwise unrelated to one another. This notion lives on in works of popular culture, like the poetry collections Mucha Muchacha, Too Much Girl, by Leticia Hernandez Linares, and Rant Chant Chisme by Amalia Ortiz. Each work contains an anthology of poems meant to unite and strengthen groups of people as they experience common sufferings. In her poem, Singwanaba, Hernandez Linares uses imagery of water and the everyday tasks of women, along with references to myths and legends to represent a shared collective past, present, and future for Latin American females. The poem uses water and the idea of water songs to connect an array of women, those who faint behind bus emissions alongside women, pushing food, bouncing babies, shredding bodies tattooed, and struggle to reshape shoulders cowering from myths about bad mothers made ugly tasks with spooking the misbehaving. This vague imagery invites women to read the poem with their own experiences in mind, whether related to mundane everyday tasks or the struggles of motherhood like misbehaving children. These collective stories provide advice like puzzle pieces of legend outline our paths, tell tales about women needing liberation from dirty, from choice, themselves, often relayed through Latin American myths and legends that hold instructional power. All of this is provided through the water, which connects this group of women separated by geographic boundaries and unites them into one body. Readers, whether belonging to the specific group of Latin American women or not, can feel the sense of community generated by the rich imagery of the poem, evoking a deep, transnational solidarity for any female suffering the plight of dirty chores, mundane tasks, disciplining children, or even just the struggle of making life choices. In No Todos Somos Iguales, Hernandez Linares again draws on the idea of a multinational community, focusing on the Latin or Central American community connected through the shared experience as immigrants fleeing from different home countries in an attempt to reach the United States. This experience is rich in shared sufferings, represented in the lines of the poem, such as "Here lies Fulano de Tal, Salvadoreño, Guatemalteca, Hondureño, unidentified Central American, the casualty. marked by two sticks forming a cross, which uses the tragic image of a mass grave to blend the multinational identities of migrants into a unified front, the unidentified Central American that has suffered greatly in the quest to belong to the United States. When paired with the poem's title, which translates to "Why are we not all equal?" and the context of migrating to the US, this idea is able to argue again for a sense of solidarity that is created between individuals and communities seemingly separated and differentiated by geography and national boundaries, and that a community identity formed through shared experiences is greater than the markers of difference. This idea is further shown in the work by Amalia Ortiz, who repeatedly states her pride in belonging to the Tejana community of the United States. She acknowledges that she identifies and experiences solidarity with this community, even though she is often separated from it physically and repeatedly has to fight America's dominant culture, a theme appearing in poems such as Me Acuerdo and Metaphora Tejana. In Me Acuerdo, she states, "However far I roam, soy Tejana," declaring a belonging to the community of Tejana woman that stands firm even when physically separated from it. Metaphora Tejana extends this belonging to a sense of pride by saying that she is a tiny pearl cultured from mi pueblo, which associates a pearl, an object that brings beauty to those who look upon it, with the Tejana community, and states this pueblo is lovely no matter the forces that try to say otherwise. Together, these ideas communicate that the positive influences of her community know no boundaries or limits, traveling with her and impacting the new regions she comes across. But how do all of these examples of community solidarity relate to COVID-19 and the fluidity of community within this crisis? Similar to the women who came together to share their personal stories, transmitted helpful legends through the symbolic river that joined distant individuals, and kept an unfaltering identity to their community despite separation, those of us secluded in our homes for the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic refuse to allow government-mandated isolation to keep us from the bond of community. In my local community, I've seen countless examples of people determined to provide an invisible helping hand and support fellow community members in their suffering. While isolation rules prevent neighbors from sitting together and directly interacting, neighbors show their support and solidarity for one another and first responders by proudly displaying matching white bows throughout the neighborhood and putting up signs to acknowledge the local heroes in the crisis. When walking through neighborhoods, even alone, the message is clear. As a group, they stand together, and isolation can do nothing to stop it. First responders are oftentimes even surprised as these signs unexpectedly emerge in front of their houses, as happened in my neighborhood. First responders are also supported through efforts made by members of their communities to keep them safe, like when face masks are hand-sewn to send to local nurses and doctors.
Hi, my name's Ava and I'm 12 years old. During this quarantine, I've been sewing masks for my community and the nurses. For my community, I've been sewing them for them to go out and get essentials without them being sick. And this is the finished product.
While acts of love made to honor our local heroes are important, the community does not ignore the average person. Equal efforts are made to alleviate the struggles of individuals forced to remain at home. Home isolation causes an array of hardships, such as loneliness, boredom, a lack of physical activity, and restless young children without their normal social interaction, among others. Not considered mundane when these issues are expressed, the local, national, and global community responds just as fiercely as to the plights of first responders, determined to show that everyone matters in this crisis. Again, in my own community, heroes have emerged to lend a helping hand, like the anonymous person who donated board games to bring fun to the homes of isolated neighbors, leaving a table out on the sidewalk for anyone to choose from without asking for even a thank you in return. Others connect and entertain the community in different ways, like Hannah and Lauren, who host 6 feet apart concerts for their elderly neighbors, a group greatly impacted by the virus.
Yeah, and we actually had a really cool opportunity. For the past few weeks, we've actually been able to sing songs to our neighbors, and yeah, it's kind of feels like we're performing for our grandparents.
Moreover, when going for walks or exercising outside, I notice more people moving outside than ever before, and an eagerness in strangers to wave at each other and provide a friendly face as we all experience social isolation, something that has been noticed by others.
I just see so many more people outside, walking, biking, running, and so it feels sometimes when you're outside like it's a more community of that we're all kind of going through the same thing. We can all go outside for a little bit to get away from our houses.
Beyond the local community, large companies have used their platform to provide a measure of relief. Disney, for example, a company that, while appealing to all ages, deals greatly with children, recognizes the danger that being at home poses to the restless child and has begun posting segments on social media to entertain children. They host daily story readings by people who voice characters in Disney's animated movies.
Jennifer Goodwin here. It's wonderful to connect like this by gathering around a good book. So from my house to yours, here is Judy Hopps and the Missing Jumbo Pop.
Tutorials for drawing cartoon characters by Disney animators. Making short animated videos like At Home with Olaf that are a daily surprise and even acknowledge home quarantines, comforting children with the fact that even their favorite cartoon character is also stuck at home but still continuing to have adventures, fun, and learn some new hobbies. While aimed at children, these activities can entertain any viewer of their social media and certainly communicate that even large corporations stand with the people during this crisis. Celebrities are also doing their part to help the community. Some artists, for example, are using social media to hold live concerts at home or are writing songs about this time, documenting their shared experience of the pandemic, like Luke Combs, who wrote 6 Feet Apart after quarantine began, which describes some of the pains of isolation. Other artists are releasing songs and using the proceeds to benefit COVID-19 relief funds, like Thomas Rhett with his song Be a Light, which is also being used as a platform for people to share stories of positivity in their communities, lights among the shadow of isolation and the virus. Celebrities also started a campaign called the All In Challenge, where they create an exclusive package that can be won by fans who donate to the Coronavirus Relief Fund, and then challenge other celebrities to follow in their wake. All of this demonstrates how celebrities are using their platform for good, trying to help the world suffering from the virus and showing that, regardless of our wealth, social status, or location, we are in this together. Finally, this virus is blind to national borders and has spread globally, leaving a unique situation in which people around the world are truly experiencing the same suffering together as one. Like with celebrities, social media is a great tool that has allowed the world to experience solidarity. Nowhere is this more evident than the Facebook group View from My Window. This organization, sporting almost 2 million members, exists, as its mission statement describes, to connect people from around the world during these tough times by sharing the view from my window, or the quarantine view of people around the world. Truly, it has lived up to its name, creating a community of global solidarity as people from around the world do more than just share their window views. In comments, people express well wishes, thoughts, prayers, and uplifting messages to strangers living on the other side of the world. Many comments even express this sense of newfound global solidarity, such as a woman from Australia who said, "As strange as the situation is, it is opening up our world to everyone, and I love it. Thanks for all the gorgeous posts from all over the world." And the Floridian who wrote, "This virus makes us all equal. I turned 60 in isolation this week, but have connected with so many people on this page and everywhere. We are not alone, and we are all the same. Maybe this time will make us all appreciate each other more and be more thankful for what we have, like this view from my kitchen window." Language, national identity, country borders, and stay-at-home orders have not prevented the world from banding together during these hard times, but rather enabled it, showing us the insight we are so quick to forget, that difference doesn't really matter, and that as humans, in our core we are the same beating hearts that love, suffer, persevere, and will fight until we have beaten the enemy. While the coronavirus has locked each of us away in our homes, shutting down group gatherings and face-to-face socializing, it has not stolen our ability to join together. Like the women of the past who ignored national boundaries and geographic barriers and joined together to fight for equality, and the women who used literature and stories to unite a multinational Latin American community. Solidarity today knows no boundaries. Citizens of the world have banded together during this pandemic, giving each other strength and support and creating a movement of selfless giving and endless creativity. Individuals finding new ways to help each other from afar. In a time when my physical experience of community has been drastically altered, I have learned that community is resilient, selfless, and supportive, embodying the phrase together as one in the purest sense.
I think in this time of quarantine, it has showed me that people are taking more time to reach out to see if you're okay, to thank you for anything you've done for them, or just small acts of kindness.
I realized that you don't actually have to be face to face with the person to still have that sense of community.
It's like we're all in the same boat. We're all like living the same life right now, so we know what the neighbors are going through. They know what we're going through, and it feels more unified.
COVID-19 is something I don't want to be a part of. It's really sweet that it provides opportunities for people to be able to connect with their loved ones in a different way.
And I think out of this, communities will be stronger because of it.